Hi, I'm Andrew, an entrepreneur and a computer science student,
Hi, I'm Verene, a psychology major student.
and you're now listening to the Ink Thoughts podcast, where we ponder and talk about incongruous thoughts ranging from our daily life to the human mind.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ink Thoughts podcast. So this is actually the second time that I'm recording this because the first time there's just a lot of background noise that I decided not to use that. So today I'm going to talk about the right balance of being too hard or too easy on yourself. On ourselves. So in the recent years, especially when people are paying more attention on, caring for their mental health, we sometimes hear people say, don't be too hard on yourself. However, sometimes, you just need that extra push just a little bit more. Then you'll be able to achieve something. So this idea that inspired me to think about and talk about this, like at the end of the day, everything should be a balance. So what is actually the right balance of, not being too hard on yourself, but at the same time, push yourself enough so that you could achieve your goals or whatever that you wanted. So that balance should be the optimal situation that we seek for. So let's start with not, I mean, being too hard on ourselves first. So many people, especially people who are perfectionists, sometimes are pushing themselves a bit too hard. We all are human and we have our own mental limits. Like we all know the optimum level of stress could be good and could be a motivation for someone to complete a challenging task. And so the same goes to optimum level of push you're putting on yourself. Sometimes you just know that, pushing yourself a little bit more than whatever that seems very hard to you earlier becomes easier at that time. Yeah. And another thing is that sometimes we compare ourselves to others' expectations based on others' standards, which could be sometimes unrealistic in our own case. We always wanted to do the right thing, be the right person, be the best, but the first thing is, how do we define this so-called right thing at the first place? Yeah, these are all standards that could that could be very different for all of us. Yeah. And another thing is that for some people, they aren't flexible enough and hence just couldn't accept failures in their life. So they always push themselves harder and harder until at one point it exceeds what they could handle and then bring more harm instead at the end of the day. But failures throughout our lives are actually normal. Of course, it doesn't make us feel good. It is, in fact, a very sad thing for us to go through if we do experience one. But that one single failure doesn't define who you are either. Sometimes you just take that too hard that you think that, just because of that one single failure, that means you are a failure yourself. But a lot of the time, both of these are not correlated. Like, there could be failures that you go through, but that doesn't mean you are bad or you are just not good. You get what I mean? Yeah. So we just have to give ourselves some time to accept the fact and learn from what we fail from. Next time we could do better, which is a mindset of growth. Yeah. Now let's just move on to being too easy on ourselves. The one reason that sometimes it makes me thinking whether are we being too easy on ourselves because we give ourselves excuses from certain things that we don't put in effort or put in attention and we don't do at the end of the day. That could be like just something very simple, like because you keep telling yourself like don't be too hard on yourself, then you kind of slack off like, oh yeah, that's fine. I can do it anytime if I want to, but it's fine for now and things like this. And slowly, you just it just become a bad habit that you no longer take the initiative in doing something that you want because you always get away by making excuses for yourself and take away the accountability of that. Slowly, you accept that and no longer hold yourself accountable to anything that you say you want to do. Sometimes people behave like this because they hold the belief that they aren't good enough and therefore they don't believe that they will succeed. And slowly they become too easy on themselves because they just keep telling themselves like, yeah, um, I'm probably not going to be successful in this. So why be so hard on ourselves, pushing me throughout all this hardship, and at the end of the day, I can't even achieve it. Yeah. However, it's important to note that sometimes the consequences of being too easy on yourself won't show up immediately. It is often after some time that the consequences show up, and probably that's already too late for you to do something to, rewrite the whole story or whatsoever. For instance, you say you want to be on diet because you're going to this trip next month, that you wanted to fit into your favorite bikini beautifully. Yeah. However, you kept giving yourself cheat days and say, yeah, that's okay to have 1 or 2 cheat days. Well, that's true, but not to the extent that you keep putting off your training days and having cheat days almost every day, right? Yeah. Then at the end of the month, when you're about to depart for your vacation, you notice that no, I didn't achieve my goals and feel sad about it. But now it's too late for you to do anything else. Then it becomes a bad cycle of you criticizing yourself, like, yeah, I'm just that bad in this or that I can't even achieve this one single goal. But maybe it's not about this. There's something else that we should change a bit to have everything work again. Yeah. Well, this could just be like smaller case or smaller thing. What about things like your education and your work and your future? For example, you always procrastinate and you don't really study for exams throughout your high school. After a few years, when it's about to enroll yourself into the university, you notice that, oh no, I'm not up to the university entry requirements. And until that time, it's probably too late for you to do anything else to change the past. Yeah. Well, it's not like impossible, but you just probably need to go through a lot of different stuff, and probably take a few more years to achieve what you want. So obviously, being too easy and too hard on ourselves aren't the best idea. The key word here is the two. Yeah. Hence, it's better for us to find that balance between these two extremes that could push us enough in working for the future that we want, or just purely things that we desire. Of course, it's not going to be easy. It's always easier said than be done. But it is not impossible. Yeah, the word impossible itself told you it's possible. So to be fair, I do notice that I have both being too hard and too easy on myself at different times. I guess that depends on what we are doing and also what we care about as well. So for certain things, probably I'm pushing myself a bit too much, that I'm being too hard on myself and criticize myself a lot more compared to certain things that, yeah, I kind of just slack off and just being too easy on myself, and at the end of the day it just makes me feel bad because I didn't do any single thing. Yeah. So we just have to slowly find that balance that work for us. Let's now go on into some tips that could probably help us in finding the right balance between these two. So first thing is to set a realistic and achievable goal for yourself. Then you work towards it. Once you're done with it, set a slightly harder goals. But the key here is to be realistic. Yeah, sometimes, we just have those very fancy dreams and goals that we want to achieve. And so, imagination is always beautiful, but the realistic is still what we need to face. So if let's say if everything is just being too fancy and it's something unrealistic, we can't achieve either. And at the end of the day, it just makes you feel worse and you don't feel happy about it, which kind of defeat the purpose itself. Yeah, so realistic is the key. Next, allow yourself to make mistakes. It is fine that you make mistakes during the journey. Most of the time, it is not at the end of the world. You just need to accept it and fix the problem. It might make you feel bad, but believe me, after you're done with fixing the problem, you come back stronger. Yeah, one thing, yeah, it actually happened yesterday that I went to work, and it's funny that because I work a different shift, so yesterday I have to take a different bus to come back home. So I was already very tired, and so I actually didn't notice that the bus stop that I'm supposed to go to is the opposite one instead of the one in front of my workplace. And then when I saw the bus coming, I just immediately got on, and I actually went somewhere else that I don't know. It's funny. Then after that, I was already very tired, and so I'm like so pissed off with myself, like, what the hell am I doing here? How am I going to get home? But luckily, everything sorted out afterwards, and yeah, at the end of the day, I still get home. Well, today I still make fun of myself with Andrew about how stupid I was yesterday, going through all this, but everyone makes mistakes, and you just have to accept it, and yeah, you'll be fine next time. We are not perfect. I mean, we are not perfect. No one is. Yeah. Also, change your beliefs. Most of the time, the greater critics we have in our lives are actually ourselves. Overly criticizing yourself won't make any good. It will just make you feel less confident, and it might even lead you to experiencing anxiety or depression. You don't need to be successful and positive all the time. Give yourself that space and time. Yeah. Lastly, acknowledge the little achievements or success. It could be a very small thing, but the important thing is that you did it anyway. Yeah, you did it. Completion is greater than anything else. Yeah, and it might be a good idea to keep yourself a achievement journal or something like this, so that you record down all the little success that you have in your life. That would makes you and refer to it when you're feeling down or not feeling confident in yourself. That would help you in boosting your confidence and also makes you feel better at times. So finding the right balance isn't easy. I'm still trying to find that right balance for myself too. Yeah. And sometimes standards and things change over time, and you might just need to readjust for that. So take your time in finding the right balance. I guess that's it from me today. Thank you for listening. Comment down below and share with me if, are you the type that is being too hard or too easy on yourself? And what are your tips in finding the right balance? So I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed, do share with your friends and family and leave us a review on Apple Podcast. If you're not using an Apple device, you can leave a review on the Apple Podcast website with a link in the show notes. If you have any feedback or thoughts which you hope that we'll discuss in the future, feel free to email them to us at hello@incthoughts.com, or alternatively, you can send us a private message on our Facebook, Instagram or Twitter with the username of incthoughtspod. Thanks again, and see you all next week. Bye bye.